Talk me through the property and market selection.
Yeah, no, but that particular market was on an island and it was amazing, and I would still love to end up there someday, but that was a little out of our price range, just as islands could be with,
Yeah.
limited there's land or limited amount of land
Inventory. Yeah. There's
inventory.
no there. Yeah. So we're
Not a lot of
we
options.
like the beaches though. You still ended up in a warm beach area.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love the mountains. We love the beach. So it's like goal someday would be to have a house both places. But ultimately, we visit the beach more frequently, ended up looking in quite a few different markets, had offers that got rejected. We looked in, South, like the Georgia, like the North Georgia
Yeah.
area. That was definitely a big contender. Made some offers on houses that didn't go through. Made an offer and actually went under contract in a house in a different Florida market that fell through. And in hindsight was honestly felt like that was a blessing from God, an unanswered prayer that wasn't supposed to be, all those kind of things. And then ended up in Destin in a beach market. Felt like for us, at least initially, the occupancy was really, good. All of those kind of things. We love the area. Found a property that's walkable to the beach, no roads to cross. It's in a gated area, lots of great features. And so felt like that was the right one for us to start our journey.
Love it. Love it. And we're going on how many years now with the property?
2.5, I think.
Okay.
2.5-ish.
2.5 years. Yeah. So it's always, so you guys, when we got the property and just from your thoughts and of how that market is, like, people are always like, oh, we hear about, especially the Florida markets where we say, the Florida markets are dropping down and everything else. And we are seeing some good buys on properties right now. We are seeing some, like we since the high, or when interest rates hiked in mid 2022, that's kind of the high in most of the markets. We've kind of been, many markets have hovered around 1 or 2% appreciation that are still maybe going up a little bit. But some of the markets like Florida have actually dropped in price a little bit in some of those markets. So we hear that. And a lot of people think that it actually has to do with the back end as well. When you guys are seeing it or going there or visiting it, does it feel like that those beaches are empty and nobody's going down to that area?
I wish.
Yeah, right.
We go in December to avoid the crowds because we love the warm, we love the beach, and I do love crowds, and there's something to be said for like the whole summer environment, but we also love to occupy it when it's not primo rates and we're not taking away from income potential, that kind of thing. Right. So definitely that is not the case. I'll say it is still.
Yeah. When we see it on the back end, I wanted to hear it from somebody kind of on the front lines, but when we're looking at the numbers and the data, it's like, man, there's still a lot of people visiting these areas. Now, that is a major market. There's lots of competition. There's lots of different things to do. And that you have to do, in my opinion, to really stand out in these markets. And it's hard, right? There's a lot of things. We talked about this last time we were talking about this. It was a little bit more fresh on right after the launch and going through that property and doing all that, like getting it in a position to stand out, in a position to kind of get its unfair share of business. Because in markets like Destin, those major markets, the consumer loves them. They still go. They're there, but you're also competing against a lot of people, and you have to do certain things. And we always talk about buying the right property in the right area with the right amenities, and so we can talk a little bit about that. But there's other properties in your same area with the same amenities and same proximity, and so then we have to do other things to really create these immersive experiences. And then after we create it, we've got to articulate it. And you guys have done a beautiful job of both of those things. And so walk me through a little bit about how that process went for you guys, and really diving in and buying off on going kind of all in, and how you feel like after having it for a couple of years, how that has made a difference, because the competition is pretty stiff out there.
Yeah. One of the things that, we don't have a beach view. So we have come to realize that, that's something that we can't change. We know that, obviously, but that certainly, if people filter for that, then we don't get filtered in. So that's something that we can't control. So what we've kind of looked at is okay, what can we control? And over the 2.5 years, we always have followed the Vodyssey formula, I would say, as far as like we had Mike's artwork in the house from day one.
Yeah.
We had giant sized artwork, those kind of things. But as we've learned and grown, and you talk about a little bit about the iterations of almost the Vodyssey design and how it's
Yeah.
evolved and those kind of things. So we've kind of evolved too, and realized a little bit that the market, like that we needed to kind of do more, especially in that market. There's some markets where you can, just have some of the artwork and then that's like already killing people because it's such a, just like not a major market or those types of things. But
Right.
Destin's a major market, and we're starting to see, as we look at the competition, we're starting to see, better photos. People aren't showing terrible photos anymore, those types of things. So we kept feeling challenged of like, how do we up our game? How do we really stand out? Because we're never going to compete with beachfront. We know that, but we walk right out to the beach. We've got some amazing amenities. We have a huge, we've got a backyard. We've got 1,700 square feet. We have 26-foot ceilings in our property,
Yeah.
which is unheard of. Most condos have 8-foot ceilings, that kind of thing. And so we really wanted to do some things. And so just really leaning into trying to figure out how do we not only, have some really cool design elements, but how do we just continue to immerse people? How do we continue to create that experience? And so we painted our fireplace, our 26-foot tall fireplace blue, and it's amazing. It pops off the wall now. It helps make the place look bigger. I actually went and brought two of my recliners home to where I live in Kentucky, had them recovered in bright orange performance velvet fabric because I couldn't find chairs anywhere that were bright and good quality that I liked. And so we just really have leaned into some of that. We found a local artist who paints murals. We actually met her on a kayaking trip, super random, kept her card, contacted her a year later, and we've had her paint 2 huge life-size murals behind our beds to complement the art that we had from Mike. So it's like we've got that, and then we've kind of, in our opinion, like raised the bar a little bit more for what we could do to kind of piggyback off of that. So really trying to amp up, adding amenities, games, putting green, whatever we can do to just stay competitive and to really elevate things above and beyond what others are doing. They're in a saturated market.